Livingston will trigger the inbound, and here we go. It's in his hands. Celtics guarding the three-point line. Bodies flying all over the place. Livingston trouble getting it in. Floats it to Green. Green for Steph Curry. Way behind the line. Steps to his right. It's in the air. It rims out. Rebound. Punched around. Barnes has got it. His follow-away three is short. And it's over. It's over. It happened. The Boston Celtics have come into Oakland and snapped the longest home court winning streak in NBA history. 109 to 106. One night, late in one season, that will be remembered forever as no April Fool's joke.
Sandwiches for every damn body. That was the kind of game you win and you call your mom and say, Mama, we won.
For a year and a half, Steph Curry has been the one. Tonight, Isaiah Thomas was the one. For a year and a half, Draymond Green has been the one. Tonight, Jared Sullinger was the one. For a year and a half, the Golden State Warriors have been the one. But tonight, the Boston Celtics are the one. They are the one in 54-1.
That right there was legendary Sean Grandy, the on-call color commentary for the Boston Celtics, as well as Cedric Maxwell giving the nice radio commentary, which y'all just heard. Basically, that was a big topic that we're obviously going to cover in this episode of Off the Bench. And, of course, you got your host, Ryan, and, of course, the sixth man of Dead in Sports, Q. What up, Q?
IT is what's up, and so is the Celtics, obviously. I know you're very excited to talk about this. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it, man. Just give us, just go ahead and go, man. Just go.
Yo, someone wake me up, because I think it's like 2008 right now, and I'm like KG. Anything is possible. Anything is possible right now.
The finals are hilarious. Go ahead, man.
Low-key, I think you may agree with this, is that I think we could say Warriors-Celtics would be a crazy fun finals matchup.
Yeah, I think so.
Based on only just these two games alone, it's competitive and it's damn fun both ways. Like, my heart was racing so much. Like, I had my hands clenched and I was just ready to give.
Quick point.
Go ahead.
Steph is normally used to being the smaller, daintier point guard, and that's what gives him like the edge on a lot of like the bigger, like faster point guards. Because I'm not saying Steph isn't fast, but when he goes up against people like Russell Westbrook and John Wall, they probably have a larger body mass and a larger muscle index, and they probably feel like they could bully him a little bit. And Steph is like, all right, I'm gonna just do what I do. But for some reason, whenever he goes up against people like Isaiah Thomas, who's smaller than probably every point guard in the NBA who's of importance, I feel like that bothers Steph a little bit because he can blow by Steph for some reason. I think he's just smaller and faster than Steph, who's smaller and faster than most point guards. So it's like a I guess what you call a role reversal of some sort. It's just a simple thought, but I noticed this a lot.
Okay.
And it's just kind of funny to me how the hunter has become the hunted in that sense.
Yeah, the thing about actually to that point was back when they played in February, there was I think it was a tweet I remember reading about the scouting report the Warriors were talking about, and that Steph or David Lee said something about. Isaiah Thomas has always been a little bit of something that makes Steph's eyes light up a little bit because he knows how fast he is, and that it's tough to keep up with. But to add more context is that Isaiah wasn't covering Curry all night, but when he did, his defense was actually like people think he's a defensive liability. He's gotten better under Brad Stevens in the Celtics. His defense, like he kept up with Curry running off through screens over them, keeping up with the defense, even getting his hand on the ball a couple times too. Like it was. I
think it's just a known fact that anybody could probably get better under Brad Stevens. That's why I say that I'm being so serious right here. I think the Celtics shouldn't be hesitant to trade for any player, and that's saying a lot. because a lot of teams have like cogs and they have certain types that they need for their teams. I don't think the Celtics should have any worry of who Brad Stevens can or cannot make work, unless they're just a complete train wreck, like they, come to practice, drunk, whatever. I'm not saying it's the character flaws. I'm talking about types of game. Like, to me, I think he could fix Lance Stevenson. That's how much I think Brad Stevens is an incredible coach. I'm really not even joking. I think Brad Stevens could fix Lance Stevens and have him play very great defense like he used to. And that's why I say that no one in the Celtics organization should be afraid to trade for any player, because Brad can fix them, dude. He's a fixer. He's like Larry Brown. I used to call Larry Brown the fixer. He's Mr. Fix It.
Fixer. Okay. Right, to go, basically, yes. If many of you are listening, obviously, first and foremost, before we go into more detail, make sure you subscribe to Dead on Sports, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Follow all the socials, and make sure to follow also Off the Bench. Now that that's out of the way, the main event, that was the Saturday night game. After the Cavaliers at Hawks game that went to overtime, that I thought was interesting to say.
That was a good game too, by the way.
Yes, it was. Kyle, you should not feel bad about your Hawks. They played some very good defense at the end. It just wasn't quite enough. Now this Golden State game, I literally was, to give it the full idea how I was expecting a loss. I was pulling for them because I know they can make it competitive. Not having Crowder, I was worried. But Evan Turner stepped up because his perimeter defense, I think, is underrated. But the game plan, like, here's the thing. Actually, I didn't know this till after the game and the post game came out. Everyone on the Celtics team, even Brad to a degree, were confident in winning in this game. They after the Draymond Green gets off his first 2 3-pointers because Steph and Clay couldn't hit. Apparently, Avery Bradley and Isaiah Thomas were saying, like, we're going to win this game. Like, they felt it. Like, we're going to win this game.
They have every right to feel that way, especially after the game in December, where it took Isaiah missing some uncharacteristically bad clutch shots at the end,
right,
to lose, and it took some, let's be serious here, took some questionable calls by the refs at the end to seal it for the Golden State Warriors, and the Celtics just said, all right, we're going to come in here, we're going to strap you from the perimeter, we're going to force you to make tough shots, and if you go inside, we're going to swat that shit. And for most of the game, that game plan,
it worked.
It was basically a thank you, Coach Pop. It was basically like,
well,
it's basically like Steven saw the game, and then so I'm about the Spurs game. Saw the Spurs game, and then he said, all right, let me go and take this a step further, and that's what he did. Like,
it's funny.
I give him all the credit in the world.
It's funny that you say that, because I tweeted this on the account that I think Pop watched the Celtics game in order to figure out how to defend Curry that night for them to win. So that's funny that you mentioned that.
There's just so many thoughts going through my head, man. But I have to say this right now on record.
Yep.
Golden State Warriors are not going to win the 2016 NBA Finals.
Whoa. Hot take. Is that a hot take?
Hot take. That's a major hot take. But I've been saying that for months now, so I guess you could say it's damn near cold as hell.
Oh, my
God. But I'm bringing it back up. They're not going to win the Finals. I'm sorry.
Am I talking to Charles Barkley? Oh, God.
Let me tell you something. Shaq,
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right? Let me tell you something. The Golden State Warriors, Stephen Curry, they're just not going to win. They're just not going to win the finals, dude. They're just not going to win. You ever notice how, like, you ever notice how Charles, whenever he wants to talk, he'll say, all right, let me tell you, it's just so funny with that. Let me tell you something. Yeah, it's just so stupid. But anyway, Chuck, I agree with Chuck on this, man. I don't think that the Warriors are going to win the finals because I'm gonna give you a couple reasons. This is not blind Warrior. I fucking love the Warriors. Actually, I enjoy watching them over my own team. Obviously, the Sixers are fucking trash right now, but it's by design, so I'm not even mad. And we're going to be talking about that later on, not this podcast, but a couple podcasts from now when draft lottery happens. They're probably going to do a live reaction to that. So definitely going to be on the lookout for that, you all. So, I mean, Chuck, I agree, man. And the reasons why, number one, is that record that they're chasing. They're chasing the record, but they're not doing it they're not doing it in a healthy way, in my opinion. To me, they're sacrificing their health over their chances at repeating. And if you ask me, I think it's valiant of them to want to break this record. But dude, if you're gonna sacrifice, people forget that this, Curry's ankles, as much as they've held up these last couple years, when he twisted them and he at that weird angle at the OKC game, that could have went completely different than what it did. You know how he just kind of came back from that? He kind of just came back from it. And I was like, okay, yeah, forget all that. Dude, he could have literally broken one, and this would have been a completely different season after that. He could have, strained one. He could have had a muscle tear. He could have had a meniscus. You know what I'm saying? There's, knock on wood, a whole bunch of things that could have happened there. And you're seeing the effects of them chasing this record in the way that they're starting to play now. And for those who don't remember, and I'm not saying I do, but just from watching the game tapes and actually going back and being a student of the game, the 96 Bulls, they were better after their All-Star break than they were at the beginning of the season. And the Warriors, I believe, are not.
You'd be correct. There is an article from 538 that was published today about that, saying that there's been a little bit of a decline on their path, that they were staying at an average of above 73 win, and now that they're reaching closer to that 73 win point. It's been on a down curve.
Exactly. So they're declining slightly. Their decline is still better than most teams, peak, obviously, but they're declining, and you're seeing it in the way that they play. They're getting tired faster. Steph hasn't, and which is crazy because Steph hasn't played in a lot of fourth quarters, but he's starting to having to play more because you're seeing the effects of it take wear on people like Iguodala, Zealy. I believe Clay is playing through something right now. If I'm not mistaken, if it's not Clay, then it's Harrison Barnes who's playing through something.
Yeah, he's been the same since that.
Yeah, and Harrison Barnes just hasn't been doing much.
But he was better in this game.
He was better that game for sure, but consistently hasn't been doing much. So my problem with them, number one, is the record. Number two is the Spurs and a lot of teams in the West now have the blueprint on how to beat them.
Well, yes, but the thing is, can they do it? And can they execute it consistently for 48 minutes?
Here's the thing. I think a team like Utah is scrappy enough to do it.
That I'd agree with you.
I think the Spurs have more than enough talent and offensive firepower to keep up and beat them.
Well, they got to dictate the pace.
It's a toss-up. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So I would give them that. I think a team like what's the team I'm thinking of in the West? Oh my God, a team like Portland. Even though they got blown out the last time, that series is 1-1 right now. If this was a playoff, it would be 1-1, 2 blowouts.
I give that a 70-30 Warriors favor.
I would too, but people are just acting like the Warriors are going to run through these guys, man. I just don't see it, and we're just completely forgetting the fact that this is a complete long shot. But the Houston Rockets, they're completely terrible. But they're so terrible that I'm afraid of them.
Oh, I know what you're getting at.
And it's one of those weird Detroit Piston type of teams where it's like no one really cares But when they get in the finals or they get in the playoffs, they start, bruising teams because they have nothing to lose. They're the forgotten ones.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same thing. I think what the thing I would agree with you is that they're a 500 team. Their talent and how they played last year, they shouldn't be. Yet they're playing, their amount of effort is, like, if they're behind, then they play catch up. And then all of a sudden they're a threat. But if they're ahead and they just get lackadaisical, they can get blown out.
Yeah, and they just need to, like, for some reason, they just need to, like, act like they're down 40 and just start just going hard. Like, I don't know. Because James Harden is a top 10 talent in this league when he actually tries. You're right. When he tries, he's a top 10 talent in this league. Dwight Howard, he can be a formidable center when he actually gives a damn about basketball.
And stick.
Ariza, great bench piece. Great starting player. Just he's an all around player. I love his game, but for some reason he's fallen off this year. But whenever they're on, they're on. Michael Beasley's turned into Michael Beasley, and he looks really good. He looks really good again. I don't know what happened. Anybody took a sensu bean and powered up, but I'm really impressed with how he's come back from China balling.
He's amazing.
And they're just a dangerous team that I think if they get in the 8th spot, the Warriors, I don't think the Warriors want to see Houston if they're tired like I think they are. This is all on the presumption that I think it could go 6. That's all I'm saying. I think it could go 6. I'm not saying that they would beat them, but I'm saying it would go 6. They would get a little more tired from having to push that hard in the first round. Unlike the last year's sweep, if I'm not mistaken, they swept the Pelicans the first round. That shit, right? Yeah, it was a sweep. It was a quick 4 games. 6, then you tire them out, and then who do they have to play next? Like what? The Clippers? You don't want to see the Clippers when you're tired and Blake is back.
Actually, just a counterpoint is that quad injury. That's the reason why he's been so long out, and he may need off-season surgery to fully heal it, but he's going to play through the pain, so he may not be as effective as we may think.
Who, Blake? Oh, man.
Right, because that quad injury he's going to be playing through pain. And conditioning, obviously.
Well, how do you feel about just a potential Warriors-Clippers matchup to begin with?
The Clippers would have to play the defense that they've been capable of these past couple games. And if their bench players play like they did against the Thunder, then I feel more confident in them. But that's assuming that can happen more consistently because, I mean, Christ's sake, when you started Austin Rivers, Cole Aldrich, Jamal Crawford as your starting 5 against the Thunder at full strength, and you lose by 2 points, I think. It was 119-117?
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, that's a pretty big statement for their defense.
I guess the way that I feel about the Clippers is different from everybody else. It's like they're like that girlfriend that my mom hates, but like they just don't. No, you don't see what I see in her. It's just I don't know. It's just I don't know, man. I really think that they could be something, but because I like Austin Rivers I like what he's doing lately. He's playing pretty good.
I'm gonna say this. If for some reason breaking his hand fixed his broken shot, that's crazy.
Who, Austin Rivers?
Right, because the way he played in that game against the Thunder,
that jumper was wet. That jumper was wet, man.
Yeah, I was just like, did breaking his hand somehow fix his jumper? I don't know.
And here's how this relates to just the Boston game, is the fact that you see how IT shot the second half was going. You see that the Warriors don't have a plan B when a score is going off. Has anyone noticed that? The Warriors don't know what to do with themselves when a score is going off. They let that affect the entire game. And I'm not saying that a lot of teams know how either, but I haven't seen a lot of championship teams like Miami. Those Miami teams with LeBron, they knew how to let just guys score But, because what's his name? Russell Westbrook would have 44 Game 5 of the NBA Finals. And they just all right, cool, you can go and get your 40, but we're going to continue to win this game. You see teams like the Celtics. Kobe was dropping, 30 a game, and they still destroyed the LA Lakers. And for some reason, the Warriors have a huge problem when a natural-born scorer is asserting his will. And what I notice from their defense is they start to scramble a lot, they start to panic, and they start to overplay and leaving people wide open. That's how people like Jared Sullinger get little 15-footers in the paint, which made no sense. Hey, what the hell was going on there?
When we're done talking about this and I can focus on this game, I'm gonna explain that to you as well.
Please go ahead now. Explain that. Right. What the hell was that about?
I want to make a counterpoint before I go into more details about this game, because I really have been studying up on it, because it's been such a great game to me, and I listened to Nate Duncan's emergency pod that night, just because it was just a fascinating game to me. The counterpoint to what you said about a score going off, the thing with IT was, in that third quarter where he was dueling Curry back and forth, Curry had 21, IT had 18 for the whole quarter. Curry was getting his points with the threes, the screens, the high pick and roll, even though Bradley, they defended that so great. Because it wasn't on the first shots either. The only time he got the first shot off was when he had to shoot it from 40 from the logo on a high pick. But IT, what he was doing was a lot of dribble drive handoffs and being able to get a little crossover and then use his speed to drive it to the lane. And when he finishes, the way he uses the rim as kind of like a sixth defender, that's what he did to Draymond or any of their other bigs that were on the floor. But it's not like the Warriors' defense was terrible. It wasn't. They did defend. Because the first half with Bogut, IT just couldn't get his shot going. But at the same time, yes, the refs were not being favorable to the Celtics. More so actually, I can't even say it's more so in the first half. There were some bad calls in this game, to be fair. And I'm also upset that there's no last 2-minute report, because apparently, due to the Celtics having a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter when that time happened, they didn't do it. That's why, or it was over 7, which I thought was bullshit. But to me, to go into detail, all right, so Jared Sullinger, I figured was going to be a key. Him and Marcus Smart were the big X factors for me. Actually, throw Evan Turner in there too, because he was filling in for Jay Crowder being out. Because the thing with Evan Turner, and you can make the same argument for Sean Livingston, is they're the guys in that team that are the mid-range game and that are key to making those type of shots. And he had ice-cold blood in his veins. Now, for Sully, his main thing was, since he plays center, was drawing Andrew Bogut out, the spacing. His jump mid-range game and his build. He hit 2 3-pointers. He had 20, 12, 3 assists, and maybe 1 block. He was 7 for 13, I think. His spacing, he shot with such confidence, but he's the only guy, because of his girth, that he can back down Draymond Green in a post-up. He's the only guy that can move him back. He's such a niche player that I think that's why he's going to stay. But anyway, I'm gushing too much because I'm sipping on green Kool-Aid and I'm puffing a nice cigar in honor of Red Auerbach right now with some green smoke. What Jared Sullinger basically was doing, since he's a center that's not like a typical post-up, I have to be within, less than 10 feet of the basket, I can shoot from outside, so I open up the court more, I stretch it out. So they have to respect his jumper, and hitting those threes even more so. So Bogut would have to come out. It would cause some mismatches. Plus, the Warriors' defense, there was some miscommunications at times. That's why IT could also take off and then create contact to finish. But Sullinger's game basically was, his main things for this game was he's an elite rebounder. He has vacuum hands. He is able to either for its offensive rebound or defensive rebound to control, and that was a major key factor that on both ends of the court for him. But his offense, so being able to basically, if it was Isaiah driving in, then he had to pass out and the ball moved around and then it was given to Sully, that means when the ball's in his hands, that means all of a sudden, oh shoot, I got to respect his shot, so I got to go out to defend him just in case he does a mid-range shot because he can hit him, and he was. So that was a big key factor, because otherwise, if they get the sag on him, then the defense collapses a little more and they can take advantage. That was a big factor, because he was every guy on this up. It was a team effort when all guys keyed and locked in. That was just so critical. From Sully to Evan Turner's mid range, being able to post up Sean Livingston or whoever, or Clay, to get those close mid range shots. Like, he was just ice cold money. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
So I mean, I think that it was interesting to see the coaching battle going on. I think that was more interesting than the actual game, which is pretty insane to say. Because to me, Steve Kerr to me is like a savant. He's just a natural born coach. I see him on the sideline, and he just has the poise of a guy who's been here for 20 years. Right. He has that pop blood inside of him. Right. And I see that in Brad too, because to me they're both disciples that come from this team first
mentality,
win always mentality. And it's just they seem like coaches who hate to lose, because Steve Kerr played with a player who literally despised losing to the point that it made him ill. You know what I'm saying? He played with Jordan. So that winning, and he played under Pop. He played under Phil. So the fact that he has these three influences in his basketball life play in the coach that he is today. And the coach that he is today preaches the fact that team over everything is going to get us championships. And the despising of losses is only going to be healthy for a team that all buys into that same mentality. And I think Brad Stevens, and I'm not going to pretend that I know a lot about Brad Stevens' life, but if you told me Brad Stevens has never, went to coaching seminars that were done by either Pop or Phil or Larry Brown, then I wouldn't believe you, dude, because I see complete similarities in the way that they coach. I see Brad Stevens making the adjustments. He's studying his opponents, and I see the fact that I can see the adjustments and this is something that you should also do. Go back, compare the quarters of the December game to this game. I haven't done it. I'm going to do it. Yeah. Just compare the quarters and the way that they attacked, the way that they defended, and just do it one game by another. So the first quarter of the December game versus now, second quarter, and so on and so on. And you'll see, I'm almost certain you will see that Brad got, he put his arm around IT, and he told him, all right, look, when these closing minutes happen, if you don't have a shot, I don't want you to take it. I want you to pass it out, and I want you to get a better shot, or I just want you to get the assist. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to create the offense. Because I think the first game in the fourth quarter,
he let us play it.
Yeah, he just IT go. Because you want to give your shooter confidence. But I think he said, IT, I trust you to make your shots, but I also need you to understand the urgency of the moment. And
create a better shot.
Yeah, that sometimes creating a better shot is better than shooting a mid to contested shot. So I think Brad put that, seed in his head, and you see it in the game. IT was more willing to assist. He was more willing to set players up. And he was way more willing to look around the court instead of just going straight up with, Steph to the rim, or, trying to go into the field of trees, and get smacked or whatever.
Right.
And you see it, that it showed in the game that IT's confidence was up after, he started getting a couple assists, even though his shot wasn't falling. Right. You saw that his confidence in his teammates was there, so he was able to kick out for open threes, or he was even able to get people like Avery Bradley and Smart. Those type of guys, those are what the Celtics are doing right. And whenever I look at the Sixers rebuild, I always wonder what our difference is between the Celtics. And I think the difference is the fact that Brett Brown, and I hate to make this about the Sixers, but I have to. Brett Brown, what he does is he gets his players to play hard, and he's kind of like feeding them to the sharks, and whichever one can swim is the one that we keep. And the Celtics rebuild is different in the terms of we have a system, we have a philosophy, we have a culture. Here's where we're building, and we need you to fit into these cogs.
Exactly. Yeah, you have a role. You have a special. That's what Brad does. He has these. Every player has a skill that they're good at, and he knows how to utilize their different skill sets so that they can do that and play their games the best. That's why IT loves it. He says they just want me to be me. They want me to play my game.
Exactly, and that's the difference between the Sixers and the Celtics. Is the Sixers are just go out there, play, whichever one makes the best plays. Those are the ones that we're going to keep, and those are the ones that we're going to bring into our system when we develop it later on, which could either be a great thing or just because, I guess it's basically you're seeing who has the raw talent. And there can be problems that come with that, but there can also be good benefits of seeing who can just flat out play and who has the skills and who has certain abilities and attributes so you can identify what you have in players. When the Celtics do it, it's just, all right, we know what this guy does, but we're going to bring them in to fit the system. They don't bring nobody in if they don't think that they can either be
utilize
helpful
the skill set,
or utilize the skill set. The Sixers are completely different. They're just, hey, bring this guy in and see if he's good.
Right.
Celtics are, hey, we know this guy's good. Let's bring him in.
To your point,
that's the difference.
To your point, what you said about comparing the two games, the main things that you can see is that the rotations were much different. That rotation that you saw, barring no Jay Crowder, that was basically a playoff rotation in this game. As opposed to the first one in December, we still had David Lee. We were still trying out James Young for his defense to see how he improved. There was more time, more people in that rotation at that point. Tyler Zeller did not play in this game at all, and I loved it.
I didn't see much James Young. Did he even get in?
In the Warriors game, he did, and he actually had 5 points. I remember looking it up.
The second game?
The second game, no. He was in the D League.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm gonna say I didn't see him at all.
The only rookie that did play was, Terry Rozier, who is an elite offensive rebounder and so damn fast, and he played really well, even though he did not necessarily impact in the terms of scoring, but his rebounding, he had like 6. Like he fought for those defensive and offensive rebounds. It was
so you think he has a role on this team?
Yes.
Really?
He's He's getting the most minutes when we have injuries. Because at first we were trying out RJ. Mickey finally got his time. We were all loving it. And then Rozier.
Trying to get Terry a skilled offensive big man.
Like he is using his rebounding. So he was jumping up. He has such a lift. He got, like I said, he had 6 rebounds. I think he had 2 assists, and he took maybe 2 shots because he's still raw in that sense. And he's still kind of nervous with the rookie yips.
Well, that leash is short, but he's doing the most with it, I presume.
No, he helped to contribute to the win because those rebounds that prevented the Warriors from getting any type of control at those critical possessions. And
hitting that fast break, stopping that is very, very key.
Marcus Smart did more of that because he has those outlet passes. But anyway, to go further on, yes, I think Stevens outcoached Kerr. And that's not saying it was like a outmatch or outclassed. No, both sides were very well coached. The problem was the Warriors ran ragged, and they felt the defensive presence. Avery Bradley's defense. I know you compared it to like an 80s style perimeter defender, like kind of like a Gary Payton, but he learned from Tony Allen in a way. He forced Steph. He got up right in his face, so Steph literally has to keep his arm out while he dribbles, so to protect himself from getting swiped. But Avery still swipes or is able to push him back, so he's already like closer to the half court line than he is to the 3-point. And
yes,
it was so much pressure that when Amir Johnson came up further, I think it was either maybe when someone was trying to set up the pick, he came up out and then kind of like switched off to get on top, and they managed to push Curry back for a backcourt violation. Like, it was that type of defensive pressure.
Yeah, that's what I say. He's like, to me, he's like that 80s slugger, man. I don't know. There's something about him that I really enjoy seeing. You know, he's in the same vein as like Raja Bell for some reason. You know, Raja Bell was like a really good defensive player. And to me, I guess the best comparison I can give him, I don't know if you will like this or not, is I see a lot of Bruce Bowen.
Okay.
When I see Avery Bradley.
Okay.
And I remember watching Kobe Doing Work, a documentary by Spike Lee. And Kobe said that one of his favorite players to play against is Bruce Bowen, because it reminds him of the 80s, because Bruce will be very handsy. He'll get in Kobe's personal space. He'll get in his bubble. And he'll make it very uncomfortable for him to move the ball.
Okay.
Because he impedes his progress. Right. And when you stop someone from, you know, he'll take charges on you that you think should be, you know, blocking fouls, and it gets you mad. You're like, man, this is fucking this is bullshit, man. This guy is not, you know what I'm saying? He gets those reactions out of you. Right. And I think Bradley, his footwork is more disciplined than Bruce Bowen's, because Bruce, as good as he was, I don't think he's as light on his feet as Bradley. I don't think he's as agile.
No, because he was able to contort his body around the screens picks, and he is literally within seconds. Like, as soon as Clay or Steph got the ball, he was right there, and they could not get the ball off almost. They had to rethink.
I think he's as good with his hands as someone like Raja Bell was. I think Raja Bell was very underrated defensive player. Another Kobe stopper per se on the Suns. A lot of teams tried to, you know, copy what Raja Bell did to Kobe that one game. I think Kobe had like maybe 13 points in one game. It was a playoff game, I think. And everyone was like, "Damn, Raja Bell locked him up." You know, I think it's like those Ron Artest days. I think he's in that defensive mold. He's in that mold of the Bruce Bowen, the Raja Bell, the Ron Artest, the Tony Allens. He's in that mold. I think Gary Payton, to me, I see that more in Marcus Smart than I see in Avery Bradley.
Yeah, and he's starting to show more of that. I want to get to Smart. He showed. There's an article on Celtics blog that from Kevin O'Connor, a writer I love very much for his work. He highlighted a lot of stuff that Smart did, was showing some of his glimpses of superstar potential. And he's making, again, when he's on the court, he impacts winning because he's always got a positive net rating. Like those extra hustle plays or those extra possessions, where it be the offensive rebound or the tip in to get if a shot miss and he gets it right back up and you don't expect it, because that happened in that game. Or his defense was very good off ball and on Clay. Clay did not have airspace to shoot when Marcus was defending. His body positioning was fantastic, and when he was able to get the ball, he already saw, you know, who's ahead, get the outlet pass, go. Like, it was that typical Bill Russell, Red Auerbach fast break play. It's just so, it was so great. And yes, that line will not jump out, but if you guys watch the game, or if you can watch the game somehow, there's links out there to watch the game.
Marcus Smart he's the soldier in the trenches that no one ever sees, who's putting in the dirty work. But when you really take a closer look, you're like, damn, he's really making this whole thing move. And, you know, just like a quick fantasy, I want to get your take on this, because I know a lot of Celtics fans have been like talking about this scenario for years, ever since he got drafted. But like, how good would a defensive lineup consisting of Marcus Smart at point guard and Nerlens Noel at defensive center be? Like, just like, cause all right, say you do get past Smart, you got
Bradley, you got Crowder,
so you're at the rim. I mean, what do you do? All right, let's say this. All right, Russell Westbrook, you get past Smart,
right?
You get past Bradley. Oh, you somehow got past Jay Crowder. Now you got to get at Nerlens. Like, I don't, like, that shit would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be insane.
And I just always think about that lineup, because I think I think that might be the best defensive lineup possible in the NBA today.
That'd be crazy. Like, yeah.
All you need is Kawhi Leonard and like that. I mean, that's literally that. Literally, in maybe 3 years, that might 50. Be. Yeah, that might be the defensive like starting team. Like that might be the defensive team. If in like 3 years, you know what I'm saying? If you put Kawhi in there, obviously. So I mean, I always think about that, and I mean, I hope it never happens unless it's like for a Brooklyn pick. But just
Probably.
like, but just the fact that Nerlens, you know, is always linked to these trade rumors. Something's got to give at one point. So, and we're definitely going to talk about trade rumors in a second. And I guess we should just give our closing thoughts on this game overall and what this means to the impact of the rest of the season, how teams play the Warriors, and hopefully teams can start to see that the Celtics are not just some intermediate team, that they actually could make noise in the Eastern Conference.
Right. I'll go first. The reason why I wanted to talk about this so much, yes, I'm a diehard Celtics fan. The main thing is it's been giving me like the biggest grin on my face from these past couple of days was from the Portland game, and even before that, even the Kings game and the first Warriors game was Steph was the first to say, man, I'm glad Avery got that sixth foul because he was giving him the fits. He was 9 for 27 in that game. Yes, he got 30 points, but it was a double overtime game. The Kings game, Rondo said it again that he's been saying for years. He's the best on-ball perimeter defender in the league. Then we go to the Portland game. Both Damian Lillard after the game says you're the best on-ball defender in the league ever. Like, not ever, but in the league, period, because he is. CJ McCollum says it again, like, we don't have to deal with Avery Bradley's here in the West. We don't have to deal with that. We're not going to see a defensive team like that out here in the West. And then he goes on Twitter during the Warriors game saying that he's the best. He's first team all defense. Best. He's got the clamps. He's the best first team all defense. Just giving him all this praise, and then Damian Lillard says, great win by Boston. And Steve Kerr agrees with Damian Lillard, saying, yeah, he's the best on-ball one of the best on-ball defenders, as well as Marcus Smart. It's just, I relate to these guys because when I play basketball, I relate a lot to Avery Bradley because I was that kind of guy. Well, I still am. I focus on defense a lot. I love to steal the ball. I love to, get my knees down low and just try to swipe the ball away, steal it, and do a fast break and just run. That was just my kind of game. So that's why I relate to them so much, and seeing them get all this praise just really makes me really happy to see that he's getting the acknowledgement that he's deserved, that he's been working since he was a rookie that was working on his offense for so long. So it's been great. The implications, now that the Celtics got on a national media stage, they broke the 54 winning streak. Now that all the Warriors can only do is tie the 86 Celtics best home record for 40-1 or 50-1 now, if they went as far as to win the championship. Now KD gets to see, hey, they beat them without Jay Crowder, without a superstar, so to speak. That's big scorer. Maybe I'll listen to them in free agency. Maybe, or such and such will listen to a pitch from Boston now. It will matter to some degree. Will it happen? I'm not going to say it's a guarantee, but now it's
it'll plant the seeds because KD, at the most, KD will sign a 1-year deal with OKC and see what Russell Westbrook does. And, just by taking offers and taking meetings with the Don, known as people like Pat Riley, and taking dinners with, go get 'em trader Danny, you know what I'm saying? Then he's gonna have those in the back of his mind, like, hey, should I go to South Beach? Should I go to Boston? I mean, we did lose again. And then you call him again, like, hey, remember what we talked about last summer? And then you can hopefully pounce. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
I mean, my closing thoughts basically is everything that you said, man. Like, the Celtics, they look really good against the Warriors. I will say this, I'm very surprised Steph missed that open three at the end. I think...
Ball don't lie.
Yeah, ball don't lie.
I forgot to mention that the refs, yes, Warriors fans, there were some bad calls against you, but you have to admit, Draymond Green got away with the most Draymond Greeniest plays possible with that supposed steal from Amir that Brad Stevens called the timeout that should have been the Celtics timeout. They should have the ball, and then
it wouldn't be the Warriors without a Draymond Green obvious foul at the end of the game.
And then he suplexed Marcus Smart at the end to get that Steph 3 foul. I mean,
well, sometimes you got to power bomb somebody to get the point across, man. You gotta be in a you gotta do it.
Anyway, no, I agree. The Warriors. They're still on track. They can still get the 73 wins. It's possible. It's a lot harder now. Not as easy. The Celtics get a big statement win. It'll happen in the offseason. This offseason is going to be crazy. Like when we talk more about this, it's going to be absolutely insane. All these things that are coming out now, and basically, it's a statement win. They match up really well against the Warriors because they're the best at defending the three, while the Warriors are the best at shooting the three, ironically. So it's kind of like the perfect offense versus defense type deal. So we'll see what happens. It's a great win. It's a great statement win. Helps Boston. It may hurt Golden State just a little bit and breaking the record, but, it's one game. It's not deciding anything. It's just remember what happens, say Golden State and Boston meet in the finals. Then we'll talk then if that's the case.
Man, I will literally die laughing just the fact that happened. First and foremost,
if that happened, I don't know what I'd do, man.
No, I'm like, the thing is, I'm not going to rule that out. I'm not going to disrespect, because I trust Brad Stevens more than any coach in the Eastern Conference. I trust him more than most coaches in the NBA. So if you told me, if you told me that, in 2 months from now that the Celtics defeated the Cavaliers in 7 games, I'd be like, probably, man.
The last thing I forgot to mention, there's so many things I probably didn't say. The last thing I forgot to mention when I said that Stevens outcoached, the main thing he did that no other coach I think has done, maybe other than Pop, was when the Warriors started to go on their run, hit a 3, and all of a sudden the momentum's back, the crowd's roaring at Roracle. He called the timeout immediately. Stop the momentum. Come back.
Yeah, I love when Pop does that, but I hate it when he does it too sometimes. Cause I'm just like, dude, just let the game go. But then I understand why he doesn't do it, because he's like, no, fuck that. Why am I going to let your crowd start going, let's go Warriors? No one wants that. So everyone's all right, time out. The crowd gets quiet again. And then you just get their team collected, like, all right, hey, y'all, forget all these cheers, forget the signs, forget all the the music and the announcers, and just focus on each other, hear each other's voices, talk out there and go get your W. And that's what it's about. And I think that's what's so important with the philosophy of what Brad Stevens teaches, is just teamwork literally is going to make this dream work, because without each other they can't do it, because there is no just one guy who's just above everybody else. Like, as good as IT is, All-Star, obviously we understand, but IT only goes as good of what his team can bring with him. Also, it's a we're all going to the promised land type deal. It's not a IT is this guy and he's bringing us along with him. No, it's, hey, I need your defense, Avery. Hey, I need your defense, Marcus. I need your defense. Garrett. Yeah, I need that to do what I do. It's not like a Jordan thing where, I'm going to just take over. No, even as much as he takes over, it's because you guys are locking up and I can score 10 straight. That's what it's all about. And I think that's what's so fantastic about the Celtics, is that they're just a cut from that special spur cloth alert, where it's just incredible to see it. And I'm just forever going to be watching Brad Stevens and just in awe of where the hell did they find this guy? Obviously, I remember he beat, if I'm not mistaken, he was the Butler coach, right? He
was the Butler coach who did back-to-back finals.
And he beat the VCU Rams one year when the VCU Rams went to the Final Four. I remember that. I'm like, damn, this coach is fucking good. Not only because the VCU Rams were really on a tear. They were beating teams that they had beat Kansas. And I was like, damn, this VCU team is fucking awesome. But when Brad Stevens just shut them down, I'm like, damn, this coach was getting these players right the week before. Completely shut down the VCU Rams, and they haven't been anywhere since. and it's just incredible. So
my last thing I'll say is this. Just as the Sixers got trust the process, I think the new thing that may be a coin phrase from Brad is the progress is in the poise.
Very, very true.